Happy New Year and happy holidays, everyone. Wishing you all the best this 2024 year. Welcome to Kick Weekly with Tim Wheaton, the Kickboxing Podcast. This episode, we're going to be doing the 2023 annual Kickboxing Awards, including Fighter of the Year, Female Fighter of the Year, Knockout of the Year, and Fight of the Year. Plus, there's a little bit of news and rumors regarding Rodtang and Takeru going around, so we're going to touch on those ones as well. So let's jump in. Welcome to the 2023 Kickboxing Awards show. Let's start with Knockout of the Year. This was a pretty easy pick, in all honesty, looking at all the incredible knockouts over this 2023 year. Kickboxing in 2023 had a ton of incredible knockouts. However, there was one moment that was well above the rest. This is Chingiz Allazov knocking out Superbon to capture the one featherweight kickboxing world title. In this 2023 matchup, it was a meeting of kickboxing giants. It was number 1 versus number 2 on the pound-for-pound list. The featherweight division king against the featherweight Grand Prix king. The long-awaited showdown was also a clash of styles, as Superbon is a Muay Thai technician, and Chingiz Allazov creates moments of chaos in the ring. Leading up to the fight, Chingiz Allazov, he's had a long tenured career, decorated with gold in kickboxing. He's defeated champions like Jordan Pickyer, Yasuhiro Kido. He was also able to capture a K1 Grand Prix title in 2017, looking well dominant, better than the competition at that time. In 2022, as mentioned, he did capture the one featherweight Grand Prix title. He was able to defeat Phetjeeja in the final, and that was a massive deal at the time. And with that win, he was able to punch his ticket to face Superbon for the undisputed division title. At the time, this is early 2023, Thailand's Superbon was creating a case for being one of the greatest kickboxers who had ever lived. He had defeated the K1 Max and all-time great kickboxing legend Giorgio Petrosian via head kick knockout. He then defeated former Glory and K1 champion Murat Grigorian in a kickboxing masterclass. He also defeated Glory and Muay Thai Stadium champion Phetjeeja. At the start of 2022, Superbon was a clear pick for number 1 pound for pound, and he was making a case for being an all-time great. But his first defense in January is against Chingiz Allazov. When they met, Superbon was the hometown hero, defending a kickboxing title against Allazov. This was in Bangkok. Allazov rushed forward, pushed Superbon's back against the cage with flurries of punches. He was able to shut out the dangerous kicking game of Superbon. Allazov's greatest strength is being able to create moments of chaos in kickboxing fights, and this fight exemplified this. Superbon's back was against the cage, and he attempted to circle out, but he circled into his opponent's power. With a couple of right crosses, Chingiz Allazov was able to knock out Superbon, and this changed the landscape of kickboxing. This changed the number 1 pound-for-pound pick. There was no other knockout this year that had the impact that Chingiz Allazov versus Superbon had. It was a major shift in the rankings and in the world of kickboxing, and that's why it is the 2023 Knockout of the Year. The other candidates for 2023 Knockout of the Year were Bahram Rajabzadeh defeating Luis Tavares, Superbon defeating Typhoon Ozcan, Nordin Mehedin and his knee to head kick knockout over Abraham Kulebi, Takeru defeating Bailey Sugden, Uku Uriandal defeating Badr Hari, and Tiffany Van Soest's head kick against Sarah Musadak. So it was a very competitive year this year for knockout wins. Now let's do 2023's Kickboxing's Fight of the Year. This was by far the most challenging category for me to pick. There were so many great candidates this year. Incredible fights like Chad Collins versus Petch, Koki Osaki versus Masahiko Suzuki. Of course, everyone's pick. Most people picked Akihiro Kaneko versus Masashi Kimura 3, the K1 title fight. And there was the legendary Glory Brawl, in which there was over 500 strikes thrown in just 3 rounds between Birjan Paposhi and Ahmed Sheikh Musa. Legendary bout. There were several great fights, but there was one fight I just kept coming back to, and it may not be your pick for Fight of the Year, and that's okay. This is Toki Tamaru versus Kazuki Osaki. It was a technical war. It was a close match. It required readjustments and change in tactics as the fight went on. The 21-year-old Toki Tamaru, he had a significant challenge in this fight as he was avenging a loss against a current Rise champion. This was in the second round of the Rise tournament, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. At the time, Kazuki Osaki was a top pound-for-pound talent in kickboxing. Tamaru needed to adjust his game plan throughout the fight as he lost the first round to outpoint Osaki. With tight punching combinations and pressure, he was able to get a decision win in a very close match against Kazuki Osaki. With this, he was able to move to the finals of the flyweight tournament against Kumandoi. It was a tactically impressive fight, back and forth, incredibly action-packed, and showed everything that kickboxing has. Two people not clinching up. They just stood like almost an inch apart, throwing tight punching combinations, mixing body and head, mixing kicks, mixing high kicks, low kicks, everything. It was just an incredible fight. And again, like I said, there were other fights this year that saw more punches thrown, that saw more strikes thrown. That may not be your favorite fight of this year. There were other fights that were absolute brawls, like the Yaman fight, like the Koki Osaki fight, like the Berjan Paposhi, Ahmed Sheikh Musa fight. There were so many incredible fights this year. And maybe bigger fights like Akihiro Kaneko versus Masashi Kimura. That was a very big and important fight, but that was the fight that I watched the most. I came back and watched that fight a ton of times. I really enjoyed it. Let's move forward. The 2023 Kickboxing Female Fighter of the Year. There were tons of incredible female talent competing in 2023, and this was a very competitive category for the annual award. But by defeating multiple world champions and showing that she was a league above the rest, I am awarding this to Arina Kobayashi. She is the clear winner for Female Fighter of the Year in kickboxing. Arina Kobayashi, she had a background in kickboxing and had collected multiple national karate titles before her career in kickboxing. The athlete transitioned to professional kickboxing in 2020, and she actually struggled for some time as she was growing into her skills. After struggling with losses against the Rise Atomweight champion Koyoki Miyazaki, Kobayashi changed her training regimen and shifted weight classes. Once she changed weight, the striker has been able to put together consecutive victories since 2022. Along the way, she was able to defeat a few other national karate champions like Koto Hiraoka and Wakana Miyazaki. But 2023 was her most significant year with the toughest tests. First, she would face the reigning shootboxing atomweight world champion Masaki Morita, or just Masaki is fine. With impressive speed, impressive power, Kobayashi defeated the champion Masaki in a dominant victory. It wasn't a particularly close match, and she defeated a champion from another division, that was shootboxing. Next, she was able to defeat ruthless Mai Hanada and earned another dominant victory, and her last match in 2023 was against the champion. She was matched against the reigning Rise mini flyweight kickboxing world champion, Erica. Erica has been on a consecutive fight win streak since picking up the division crown a few years ago. Arina Kobayashi battered the champion. She defeated Erica, the champion, and it wasn't a particularly close fight. She had dominant speed, power, footwork, and skill in nearly every area. She stopped the champion by way of second round knockout after dominating the first round. It honestly could have been stopped in the first round. Defeating the champion via second round knockout after a near perfect shutout, that says a lot. Now, that was for the biggest fight in her career for the world title. She put on the best performance of her life. When she needed it most, she rose to the occasion. In 2023, Arina Kobayashi showed that her skills were a cut above the rest of the competition in her division. For her dominant wins and defeating two world champions, Arina Kobayashi is my Female Fighter of the Year for 2023. Don't listen to anyone else. Other candidates for 2023 Female Fighter of the Year, of course, include Tiffany Van Soest and her head kick knockout, retiring as a champion, Antonia from Greece for defeating Kana Morimoto, Koyoki Miyazaki for winning 3 consecutive victories and retaining her title. We also have Miyu Sugawara. She re-earned her K1 title and had 4 calendar wins. I know other websites or publications or people may be picking a different Female Fighter of the Year, but just know that they are incorrect. It is Arina Kobayashi. If they tell you otherwise, just know that they're wrong. Next up in the 2023 Kickboxing Awards is Fighter of the Year. This is my final category that I am doing. And honestly, it was a pretty easy pick. 2023 was a marquee year for kickboxing with tons of incredible talent. Some of the candidates included people like Chingiz Allazov, the one world champion who defeated Marat Grigorian and Superbon. We also had China's Liu Si, who captured the K1 Openweight Grand Prix title. He won 5 fights this year, all by way of knockout. I also looked at Jin Mandakoro, who won 4 fights this year, won a tournament, and that is now a title contender. Also, Glory's Donovan Vise was able to defend his title in 3 bouts this year. So it was a competitive category, but clearly, the 2023 Kickboxing Fighter of the Year is Toki Tamaru. The Japanese-born Toki Tamaru entered the Rise Flyweight 2023 tournament for the inaugural world title as an underdog. For most of his career, Tamaru, he was a notable name on other people's records. Since turning pro in 2017, he earned losses to notable champions like Masahiko Suzuki, Kazuki Osaki, Jinmen Takoro. The young fighter took losses at the highest level, and he seemed destined just to be another talented striker, but nothing more than that. Even when he was recovering from these losses, he took close decision losses against people like Riku and Kunsuknoi. That was just ahead of the Grand Prix. So entering the Grand Prix, not many people were picking him, not many pundits were picking him to make it very far in this tournament. They were introducing a new division, so they decided, this is Rise, they decided to do a Grand Prix, hosting an 8-fighter tournament. To qualify for the tournament, he was not one of the 8 fighters picked. He had to qualify and defeat Kasane. So he defeated Kasane via decision, and then he was able to enter the tournament from there. Already, this tournament was quite competitive, featuring fighters like top pound-for-pound striker Kazuki Osaki, Muay Thai world champion Phetjeeja, Muay Thai stadium champion Kumendoi, and then you also had Muay Thai world champion and kickboxing world champion Shiro. So it was a very competitive tournament. But the southpaw Tamaru would show new skills and become the fighter he needed to be at the time when he needed it most. In the opening round of the tournament, he was able to defeat Muay Thai king Phetjeeja with a first-round knockout. A really impressive moment, and a kind of a surprise in all honesty. Next would be the biggest challenge of his career, and I talked about this fight already. He was trying to avenge a loss and defeat top pound-for-pound striker Kazuki Osaki. He had to adjust throughout the fight, he had to change pressure, he had to change tactics throughout the fight to defeat Kazuki Osaki, and he walked away with a victory in the second round of this tournament. Now, in the tournament final, he had to defeat the Omnoi and Raja Damner Muay Thai stadium champion Kumendoi. Kumendoi was just coming off a win against Shiro. This was a really high-stakes match of 2 top strikers. And when he needed it most, Tamaru had the best performance of his career. The striker showed tight punching combinations, smart defense, and he was able to win all the rounds against Kumendoi in the tournament final. Along the way, he even scored a knockdown. The southpaw was able to shut out and counter the heavy kicking game of his opponent to capture the Rise Flyweight world title and emerge as an important pound-for-pound athlete. Overall, he's only 21 years old, and he was able to win 5 notable victories in a very competitive division and a world title in 2023. For me, that is the story and fighter of 2023. I feel like it was an easy pick in all honesty, and I think most publications and websites are going to be agreeing with that one. And those are the 2023 Kickboxing Awards. Let me know what you think, and let me know where you disagree and where I'm wrong and stuff like that. But I want to hear from you. What is your fight of the year? What is your knockout of the year? Who's your female fighter of the year? And what is your fight of the year? Let me know down in the comments what your favorite stuff was. And if I missed anything, let me know. Shout it out, and I'll make sure to catch up on it later. And while I have you folks here, why don't we do a few awards from Muay Thai as well? I'm not going to go super in depth, but these are some of the Muay Thai awards. So for kickboxing, all of my awards are going to be coordinated with Combat Press. And for Muay Thai, all of my Muay Thai awards are going to be coordinated with MuayThai.com's Instagram page. So just Muay Thai. Muay Thai Fighter of the Year in 2023 is Nadaka Yoshinari. 9 victories in Muay Thai this year, simply incredible. And 8 of these victories were by way of knockout. He won 2 Raja Damnern Stadium titles this year and defended one of those titles as well. 9 victories, my God. 2023 Muay Thai Female Fighter of the Year. I think I struggled the most in this category. I was really split between Samrat Sami, who won the RWS title, and Phetjeeja, who just ran through the competition in one championship via knockout. But honestly, I think I'm going to pick Phetjeeja. She had an incredible year. I'm picking her. She had 4 knockout wins in one championship, plus a kickboxing win against Anissa Meksen. Just really, really impressive work. And I think when we look back, a lot of these ideas are who told the story of 2023. And when we look back, I think we're going to be remembering Phetjeeja. The 2023 Muay Thai Fight of the Year? Come on. This is an easy pick. The war between Superlek and Rodtang. While no title was on the line, the back and forth battle captured the attention of the entire combat sports world. There was no fight bigger than Superlek and Rodtang this year, and it lived up to the hype. It was a really impressive, exciting fight. Unfortunately, Superlek did miss weight for it, and that is the only asterisk against it, but what a war this was. I could go back and watch this fight a dozen times. I loved it. 2023 Muay Thai Knockout of the Year. I'm going to give it to Worapon defeating Slatan with a head kick knockout. It was so impressive. He was backed into a corner and just slams him with a head kick. Incredible. I know it wasn't the biggest or most notable knockout of the year, but it was one that stuck with me that I kept coming back to. I just thought it was so cool and so impressive. So I'm looking to see more from Worapon later this year. Okay, let's move on to a little bit of news, as I know everyone's going to be talking about this in the next week, and everyone's already been talking about this in the Kick and Muay community. Thank you so much for joining me for the 2023 Muay Thai and Kickboxing Awards, but let's go into a little bit of news here. Hey folks, what's going on with Rodtang and Superlek and Takeru? According to recent reports, Rodtang is out of the match against Takeru due to injury. And apparently, the kickboxing champion from one and Muay Thai veteran Superlek will step in to face Takeru. This is going to be the headlining fight at 165. Now, this is according to So Jitwangnong, who is the manager of Rodtang. He was, according to the manager, he was forced to withdraw from his January 28th fight against Takeru in Tokyo. On Facebook, this person said, "Please wait for the good news from Chatri. Superlek is the most suitable and deserving because he already beat Rodtang." That is the translation courtesy of Ichi Waradon. Now, already leading up to that post on Facebook, it has already been heavily rumored that Rodtang was injured. He was once photographed with his hand in a cast, and since then he's really been hiding his left hand in any recent photos, whether it's in like a jean pocket or behind someone or just facing the wrong way. He also in videos, people are handing him things and he's very clearly not using that hand. So this has been heavily rumored for quite some time, but this is according to Rodtang's manager. Rodtang's manager is saying that he is out of the fight. One Championship hasn't said anything quite so far. So Superlek, while it's not confirmed, really seems to be the fill-in pick for Takeru on January 28th. Superlek is a dangerous fighter, most notably skilled when it comes to his heavy Muay Thai kicking game, and he's a really different matchup than Rodtang. I think Superlek versus Takeru is much more competitive than Takeru versus Rodtang. I think Superlek is a much more challenging opponent style-wise for someone like Takeru. Now, most recently, Superlek is coming off his Muay Thai victory against Rodtang, but Superlek was scheduled to face Elias Mahmoudi on January 13th, just coming up in like 2 weeks here. But Elias Mahmoudi withdrew from the bout due to a rib injury. So now Superlek was preparing for a fight in January, but now he doesn't have an opponent. See what's going on here. Rodtang was preparing for a fight also in January, but was forced to pull out from the fight. So things may have worked out very well on the timing here because Superlek was already training. Now, Superlek is the kickboxing world champion in a weight class where Takeru already competes, and already Takeru was preparing, both men were preparing actually for a 5-round fight. So the question remains, would a title be on the line for this fight? I mean, it hasn't even been made official yet, so let's give it a minute here. Now, when this rumor began circulating, Takeru did update his social media, and he said he will be fighting on the 28th. Didn't name an opponent, though. He just said he will be fighting. He says that he hasn't heard anything yet from One Championship, and according to One Championship's Thailand Instagram, it just says Takeru will be fighting a Thai opponent, but didn't name anyone. Now, Thai news sites have already ran with this story as fact that Rodtang is out and Superlek is in. Japan news sites are slowly learning about it. Most One news sites have not said anything yet. There's very few English sites currently covering this. So here's what I'm thinking. The Superlek versus Takeru in kickboxing, 5 rounds with a title on the line, is likely to be the headliner for 165. That's going to be January 28th in Tokyo. Although there is no official word yet from One Championship, that is what I'm expecting. Takeru versus Superlek or Takeru versus Rodtang? What is your preference here? And you can go check out Rodtang's Instagram. He doesn't seem to be actively training right now. Superlek was training for a title fight, defending his kickboxing title against Elias Mahmoudi. So things really align there. So we'll see what happens. News might come out just as I'm uploading this, as things are so last minute. Things happen so fast in this industry. I don't think Takeru would pull out due to a change of opponent 3 weeks, 4 weeks ahead of the fight. I think he would perform against anyone that he is matched up against in Tokyo there. Also, we had the Superbon versus Tawanchai Muay Thai fight, and it was a really good 5-round fight. I'm not going to talk about it too much here, but I think what I'm going to do is try to do something a little bit more in-depth, maybe do a video breakdown on it later on. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it was a really fun fight. Really happy that happened. Really enjoyed it. And with the 2023 awards in the books, I went back and checked out the past years for awards. So let's go back to the 2022 Kickboxing Awards. Who was Fighter of the Year in 2022? It was Toyoto Gunji. Of course, who else would it be? He had an incredible 2022, earned 5 impressive wins this year. He also captured the K1 Featherweight World Grand Prix title, winning most of his fights by knockout. Just a really good year for him. My 2021 Kickboxer of the Year was Rico Verhoeven. That year he had wins over Hesdy Churches, Tariq Kababez, Jamal Ben Sadiq, and really captured headlines and titles with that fight against Jamal Ben Sadiq. Just what an incredible year that was. And that was also the Superbon year, who defeated Giorgio Petrosian. So either one of those picks were fantastic for 2021. Let's go back to 2022 here, just last year. What was the kickboxing fight of the year? Unforgettable, amazing fight between Kapitan Phetjeeja and Hiroki Akimoto. That was for the one bantamweight kickboxing title, which now Jonathan Haggerty holds. The top kickboxing knockout of the year for 2022. I gave it to Matthew Dahlman against Mohamed Simsek via head kick knockout, and there was lots of other great knockouts that year. 2022 female fighter of the year, Faya Hong. Of course, she defeated Miyu, she defeated Mio, and captured a K1 atomweight title at just the age of 19. Really impressive wins and career there. But folks, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your time. Let me know anything that I missed here. Let me know your thoughts on the awards, the rumors, all that sort of stuff. Folks, I want to hear from you. Leave it in the comments down below. And this has been Kick Weekly with Tim Wheaton. And I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, folks.